Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and this segment is sponsored by Stress Less Horse Supplements. We have somebody very special on set.
Yeah, so we're super excited. Thanks for being with us. We've got Aaron Vale, who has over 250 Grand Prix wins and is argued to be one of the greatest Grand Prix riders America has ever produced. Currently holds the records for the most Grand Prix wins in a year, most double clear rounds in a year, and most money won in a year. That's a big one to me. Good job.
Right.
He has had the opportunity to rep the USCT on several European tours. His success in the Grand Prix ring does not hinder his appearance in other disciplines, though. He was reserve champion at all three of our nation's equitation finals, the McClay medal, and USET. He was named Best Child Rider at Washington. That was just a couple years ago.
Yeah, very recent.
And the Pennsylvania National, and has been the winner of the United States Hunter Jumper Association, Hunter International, and National Derbies, and been the winner twice of the $500,000 Diamond Mills Hunter Prix, which means tonight he's paying for all the drinks.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you here, and I actually just got to watch you this Saturday over at WEC.
Yeah.
And you won the Grand Prix there, so that was pretty awesome.
The whole thing over there is awesome, and show jumping is a great sport, and this new facility here in town just makes it feel like a major league sport now. It's just it's a completely different feel. It's a completely different sport over there.
I think it's so cool. I haven't been able to go to watch anybody compete yet, but definitely going to get. Are you doing another Grand Prix over there in the next couple weeks?
Another one this Saturday. The next week it goes on a Sunday, so I won't be able to compete due to scheduling conflicts, and then we'll be back there, I think, every Saturday afternoon or evening through the finale mid-March.
So you're tossing it back between WEC and HITS.
Yep, we're doing double duty right now.
Double duty. So I was actually you probably don't remember because you see a lot of people, but I was in the in-gate in the jumpers you were doing the 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
And you have one of your girls that tries to keep you straight and in line telling you, we shouldn't have done the 5-year-olds first.
That would have been my wife. Yes.
There she is.
That's the one who keeps you in line.
Trying to keep you straight.
I kept on looking at her. I just kept on telling them we're doing the wrong thing first. So I guess you need to listen next time.
Oh, absolutely.
So the horse shows at WEC, those are not USEF recognized shows, is that correct?
Currently they are not. They are recognized by
the Spur
I'm not going to say the National Snaffle Bit Association, which this is our first
so does that
dealing with it for me. But anyways, we showed there with all of our horses and clients the first couple weeks before HITS started, and I have to say they felt very well officiated from a steward, referee
kind of deal.
Idea,
it feels very much like any other USEF
Absolutely. There were actually a few rules that were a bit stricter with equipment and stuff than were allowed at a regular USEF show, and they had drug testers there, so it's all legit and up to snuff for sure.
So because it's not a recognized competition, obviously you're not getting points.
With USEF.
With USEF. So does that affect which horses you're going to take and jump in the Grand Prix there?
No, not at all.
No.
Just the money.
Just the money, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a really big string this year. I've got 8 or 9 horses that are capable of jumping Grand Prix. Obviously, some are a bit more seasoned and competitive at this moment, but just kind of finding out. We've located a couple horses that are very competitive over there, so we'll try and. There's a bit more money later on in the circuit at HITS, so we try and juggle it all. Where for me the points count at the bank right now.
Exactly.
However we can get the string going to win the most money is how we're going to try and organize it.
That makes sense because we talked about the World Equestrian Center and the conflict in the beginning with USEF and how at first there wasn't going to be a meeting of the minds, but they, thank goodness, worked it out because a lot of FEI riders that would have competed in an unsanctioned or unapproved or allowed event might have an FEI repercussions, but that's gone.
Well, for the moment, yes.
For the moment. So that was my point. We talked on the show a while back.
Yeah, no, it's good they've got it sorted out. So just to sort of go into this Saturday? Because I know you won there, 3 weeks ago as well?
Same horse.
I won the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was third the other week, and then won again. So I've won 3 out of the first 4.
That's a pretty good job. You're
That's
staying right there with the
Different
money.
horses?
I won with the same horse the first 2 weeks, and then a different horse won this past Saturday.
Yeah, so this Saturday you won on Major, which is owned actually by Don Stewart.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Don Stewart and Sleepy P Ranch.
He's got to be a little bit stressful to ride for, I would think.
Oh, not at all.
No?
Don wouldn't be hard and stressful.
Knows
Not
his
for
stuff.
me.
All right,
You know,
that's good.
I've known Don for years and ridden for him for years, and he can dish it out. But I'm not a big disher outer, but I know Don well enough. I can dish it back to him. So
That makes it better for sure.
we're a great team. We do well together.
That's good.
And then you were 4th on, I'm going to massacre this name,
Candro. We'll
let's
just go with
that.
Candro, yeah.
All right, perfect. And what's that horse all
He's
about?
a newer mount for me. He's jumped clear at WEC the last 2 weeks. He's new, so I haven't figured out quite how to go fast enough to be the winner with him yet. But we've had a great start the last few weeks. So
Cool. And then I was there briefly because we were gone at Rocking Horse at the event all day, and then I wanted to run over because I knew you were jumping and you were going to be on the show, and I wanted to watch Doug Payne as an event rider jump, which he didn't have the day he wanted, but he'll be back. So I only got to watch you ride the Mr. Incredible horse, which I know you had one down on him, but God, that's a cool horse.
he's a very cool horse. Just turned 9 years old. He's very unseasoned,
Right.
But he's got all the ability. I think he's a true, Olympic prospect.
He sure looks it. I mean, I'm not a jumper. I don't know.
I
about
think
it,
that's
but-
probably his 4th real Grand Prix, I would say, at this moment. So he just jumps the fences so easy. And talking about it's a different sport at WEC. It's a different sport riding that horse. He just needs a bit of seasoning. So hopefully bright future for him.
Yeah, it sure looks that way. I was super impressed with that
Yes,
one.
he's impressive to watch. I was watching the videos last night, and it's unbelievable. So
I watched that one and I was like, oh, maybe if I could get the ride on that sort of horse,
yeah, exactly.
I could maybe do this.
Yeah, I've been looking for that horse my whole life, actually.
Right.
That's incredible. Talking about your whole life, I know you probably, the memories that we go way back, Don Stewart and Jack Towell and all the group. My daughter was young and 9 years old. She went to McClay finals. But we did a lot together, but during that time, just in the same group, obviously, we kind of canvassed around the area. But something you did that was really interesting that I remember was you were a rider for Robert Duvall in the movie Something to Talk About when they were doing the Jumper Show movie. Julia Roberts, Dennis Quaid, Robert Duvall, and you did all the jumping for Mr. Duvall, correct?
I did a lot of the jumping for him. We did a lot of really neat camera work.
Right,
A lot of it didn't make it to the big screen.
right.
We actually, Robert's a rider himself
Sure.
to some level, and we actually set up like some gymnastics and stuff with like a pole to a small jump to another jump. So we actually got some of the actors some actual jumping screen time that probably took away some of the screen time that I should have gotten.
You got yourself out of business.
Exactly.
But you got to train Robert Duvall.
That's
Come
pretty
on.
cool.
I spent, nearly a month total
Right.
on that project, and I think if I watch the movie, I can count up like 1.7 seconds where I'm on screen.
I can actually see you quite a bit. I think it's more than 1.7
I don't know about that.
seconds.
I've watched it, and I don't see me very much.
Not very much.
I catch my leg one place, and
And it was filmed at the Perry Ag Center in
Perry,
Perry, Georgia,
and we did some work in
South Carolina.
South Carolina
Yep.
at a beautiful farm plantation type
Sure.
thing. It was great fun. We had a lot of fun shooting that, and
So now you're like the go-to guy when they need somebody to jump horses in
Years ago,
Hollywood?
though. That was
I
like
wish,
1990.
I wish.
What was that? 90.
that
Well,
was
maybe we need to put
years
this out
ago.
there. Have you
97,
done, what's the
95.
app or the website where the actors go on and you like IMBD or something like that? Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah.
Possibly.
Do you have an account there?
Maybe I should get one.
We'll get you with Joel at the end
later
of the
on.
show. He'll hook you up.
I filmed a commercial for a Chevy. a Chevy commercial for a Suburban to pull a trailer, and actually that was like 2 afternoons, and I made about 20 times the amount of money that I made for the month on something to talk about.
So let's talk about that a little bit when we come back from the segment. Again, thank you Stress Less for sponsoring this segment. It's a great calming supplement for your horse. You should give it a whirl if you haven't already. You can go to hotsupplements.com and learn more about it.
Hot Horse Supplement.
Hothorssupplements.com. One of these days I'll get that right.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros from the Horse Trailer Pros studio. And we are still fortunate enough to be here with Aaron Vale, and thanks for sticking around.
No problem.
So one of the things that I wanted to make sure we got to talk about while we had you here was your extensive eventing career.
Oh, very extensive.
Yeah,
I rode 2 events.
Yeah.
So,
and what'd you think of that?
It was great fun. Been a few years ago.
Yeah.
As a lot of things are at this point in my career and life.
It's more recent than your movie career.
That's just a little.
So what made you decide to go event? Was it a horse you had, or were you riding? I know you're good friends with Buck.
Good friends with Buck Davidson, and I had a horse that kind of had accomplished everything he could in show jumping. He wasn't a Grand Prix horse. He wasn't suitable for an amateur in show jumping. So I figured, hey, I'll do a couple of events with him, and I did a couple of preliminary events up in Newberry, Florida.
Yep.
Had a great time. I think the first time I would have won, but it was the first event of the season, and by time you got penalties for going too fast.
Yep.
So I completed too quickly and was docked some points. I got speed faults. And then the second time, I forgot my dressage test. So I got a few points. I ended up second, but I had a little deduction there for, a circle that wasn't supposed to be in there or whatnot. So
well, it's good for everybody to hear that, even Aaron Vale can go off course here or there.
Oh, absolutely.
It is a new sport for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And the speed thing is funny, isn't it? Like, here you are, you go do a jump off. It's how fast can you go? You win.
Exactly.
And then here we go slow.
I didn't think I was that far too fast, but
well, you won the jump off
the next time I was on my clock, and I think I trotted in to make sure that I didn't get speed penalties.
Yeah, and the reason
you got to learn the rules.
Right.
Exactly. The reason the speed penalties were put in place is because people were going way too fast. So, in interest of horse welfare, we implemented the speed faults. So that worked. But why did you decide not to continue?
Time.
Yeah.
Once in a while, we still take our young horses, and in the spring, after kind of the busy part of the circuit's over, our winter show season, we'll take our young horses and go over to Buck's place and school cross country, or go over to Longwood and school cross country. It's a great experience for the young horses and something to keep us entertained from monotony of the same thing over and over again.
And eventing hasn't caught up to Grand Prix show jumping yet, so we don't have the money that y'all can make.
I guess.
Yeah. But I think the other thing is, and maybe I'm wrong, but it's to go event one horse for the day takes the entire day.
Yeah.
Whereas you can go to the horse show and you can ride a dozen horses in the same length of time if you wanted to. I'm assuming that makes more sense.
For sure. I mean, I guess business-wise, that's a good point there. Yeah. And show jumping's my passion, but I like all horse sports. I mean, I've ridden reiners. I rode a few steeplechase races. I've fox hunted. So.
And one of the things I've always respected about you, and I've brought a couple horses over to show you that I wanted to sell into a different world, and you have your whole business is set up, and it's think like a horse, right?
Thinks like a
Thinks
horse.
Like a horse.
It was supposed to be think like a horse, but that's my email address.
Right.
And when I signed up for my email address with AOL back in the day, it was during the days of dial-up internet connections, and I was almost to the end of signing up, think like a horse at AOL.com, and then I lost the connection. When I dialed back in, it wouldn't let me have think like a horse
because you'd already
it was
put it
taken.
in. Right.
But it wasn't completed, so I couldn't get it, so I had to add the S.
So you could do it then.
It was supposed to be a thought process, not I do think thinks like a horse.
Right.
That's a bit presumptuous on but it's the best I could do under the circumstances.
Well, I think it's cool, and like I remember the first time I brought a horse to you, you were working with another horse on the ground in the round pen. Like you really do, I think, from what I've seen, take the time to get to know them, to spend time with them. You don't just, I guess the point is you don't just hop on and just ride them and go. You actually work them, train them, seem to do it properly, which is great.
I try. I mean, it's a process to try and figure out each horse to maximize their talent. I think many horses are, horses are such good creatures. I mean, you see what happens with some people and horses,
Right.
and it's amazing that more people aren't tragically injured in some
With what they're
circumstances.
doing.
It's a real tribute to the horse. And again, and I think horses are so talented, and it's just really trying to create a communication level where the horse understands you, or you make things the horse's idea rather than forcing the horse into something to really maximize what they can do.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
just-
that's the key, is the forcing part, because you can't force them to do
you know,
anything.
I mean,
but
you can force them.
You can force them, but it's not
But a
happy.
horse that operates on his own thought process
Right.
for you
It's much
instead of
better.
against you is better. So it's an ongoing struggle and passion of mine to do it as well as possible.
Yeah, and I think we talk about that all the time, right? It's like trying to keep your levels of passion or anger down when you're riding a horse. You can't let that over control it, because you're not going to gain anything.
Anger never gets the best out
anywhere.
of the situation.
No, sure doesn't.
You know?
But I think it's right, like like you said, you can force horses to do something, but at some point it comes back to get you. You're not
Right.
going
Or,
to
you know,
win the
but-
Grand Prix on one you're forcing around.
Not that it's not possible. I'm sure it's been done, but if you can do it a different, better way,
Better way.
then
A happy way.
I'm for a better way.
Right. So, I know you said you were going to go short term, go back to WEC, jump there in a couple weeks. You got stuff going at Hits. Do you start out? I mean, maybe you don't. I don't know what your thought process is, but like at the beginning of the season, do you have a goal for this year? Something you want to achieve? Is there what's the goal with these horses? Just to go win as much as you can?
Right now, win as much as possible. There's a lot of money up for grabs here this winter in Ocala, with the two places going head to head against each other. So that's an advantage, as a show jumper.
Sure.
I'm benefiting from the competition at the moment. So we're going to try and win as much as we can with the seasoned horses that are ready to win, developing Mr. Incredible, hopefully with an eye towards something big in a year or two. That horse is ultra talented. So, and I've got some other young horses that are super talented too. So trying to develop them to be winners, and it's just I'm a horseman. I'm going to ride and jump as long as I can, and just having competitive horses and trying to develop competitive horses to come behind them, so that there's a string as long as I can go, and then on to my wife and daughter for them after that,
Exactly.
And do you think, like, have you already noticed, I think it's a foregone conclusion it's going to happen, but have you noticed the level of competition has risen because of WEC yet? Or is it about the same and it's just spread out between two
No,
venues?
there's, people coming up for the WEC shows already that haven't come up from Wellington before, so you're already noticing a difference there.
Right.
But the money that Hits is giving away kind of as their rebuttal
carrot.
to WEC. We've got 100, 150,000, 200,000 every week.
incredible,
It's
right?
incredible. Plus, then what's going on at WEC, and then what happens in the future with all of it. It's only a benefit for the horse people in the area.
Right.
And for the real estate. I've been coming to show here for 30 years, and just the last 2-3 years, the construction, the
Everything that's
fixing
being
up
built
old farms that had fallen down and hadn't been attended to for years and years. It's amazing what's going on just in the city
Exactly.
area here.
The downtown area.
And
Yeah, I've always loved living here for the last 20 years, but it certainly has become a nicer place to live in the
Yes.
last 5.
it's getting busier now.
It is getting busy.
Super busy.
It is busy. But Fortunately for me, I'm literally 5 minutes from WEC, so we just sort of scoot in there, grab some dinner, run back home. It's kind of
No, it's nice. Yeah,
luxury life.
After the Grand Prix the other night, we caught dinner at one of the restaurants and then headed home. Didn't have to cook a late dinner and clean dishes and all that. It was lovely.
Yeah, it's a pretty good life, for sure, for sure.
It's not bad.
Well, listen, Aaron, we really appreciate you stopping in. Hopefully
Absolutely.
You'll come back again sometime.
Absolutely.
And
Come back and talk about more winning.
I hope so.
yeah, and I'll be at WEC cheering you on in the next Grand Prix. I'm sure it's
All right.
right down the road from me.
We've
So
got a
looking
couple
forward to
shots at that. They've got them for 8 more weeks
Well,
currently, and that's just the
That's-
winter schedule. So.
Exactly, and I'll probably see you around at HITS because I got a
All
medium
right.
pony and another jumper that I have there. So
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
it. All right, well, listen,
Sounds
good
great.
luck with everything. And,
Thank you.
We'll be right back.